All right, I think we're good. Okay, boom. I think we got it. Let me check this. Hold up. No, that's right. Bam. Okay, never mind. It's not showing up on the screen. Hold up. Wait a minute. There it is. Bam. Nice. All right. Let me get the chat pulled up. Oh, not that. What does that mean? Turn on incognito. All right, hold up. Sorry. Okay, I think we're good though. Chat, we live? How we doing? Man, we're back. And now this is going to be it'll be one of our shorter streams because we usually do long streams on here. So this will be a little bit of a shorter stream than normally. But we're here to talk some Lions free agency, as this is the first official day of the new league year, right? This is the official. So pretty sure signings become official today. Trey Flowers, his cut should become official today, I believe. I haven't seen anything that said it did, but I believe it should become official. So I thought we'd hop on here, talk a little bit about remaining free agent options, because the way the Lions have been setting up these contracts are making me think there's some other move coming. I don't know what it is. Could be multiple little ones. Could be one more we would call a splash. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's a trade. I don't know. Something makes me feel like something's about to go down at some point. I don't know when, because, free agency's crazy. I mean, we've had a signing at like 2 a.m. before. I don't know when, but it feels like something's going to happen. So I want to talk about that. Chat, thank you for coming in. I see you guys popping. Is that Jello? Oh, Jello. Hold up. What's up, man? What's up, Chrome? Marshall, master of his craft. Hey, they're doing some work, and that's what we got to take a look at. That's why I made the title like it is. We'll take a look at those. Won't spend too much time on it, and then we'll get out of here, honestly. But I thought we'd just talk about this a little bit. Man, the NFL is popping right now. Popping news everywhere. I saw the Baker Mayfield thing. Is Baker Mayfield done in Cleveland? Atlanta's telling Matt Ryan that they're going to be pursuing Deshaun Watson. Like that whole situation. Haven't heard the Lions with any of that. I don't think they should do it. I don't think they will do it. But it's something you got to keep in mind that it's possible. Maybe I don't think it'll happen, but who knows? You got to keep it out there because Lions do have some cap space. We know they got some picks as well. How about those new contracts? So let's dive right into it. Actually, first off, we'll start here. Okay, we'll keep it simple and then we'll dive into the specifics. But these are the new cap numbers for our 2 newest free agent signings. This beat is whack. Hold up, let me change this. Nope, it's too chill. Ghost drip. That's got to be heat. Oh yeah. Chat, can we hear the beat? we need some fire. I'm not doing the other stuff. Okay, I might have turned it up too loud. I don't know. But just quickly, so DJ Chark, his cap number for this season is only $4.023 million according to Over the Cap. That is super cheap compared to what we may have thought it would be when they told us that it was up to $12 million, fully guaranteed. We're hearing these numbers, thinking it's going to be double digits. $4.023 million cap number. That's super low for DJ Chark on his 1-year deal. Actually, that's comparable. I think that's somewhat comparable to what Tyrell Williams' cap number was last season, which is wild. And also Charles Harris, his cap number is pretty low. 2-year, $14 million deal, yet his cap number is only just over $3 million. So those are the 2 main ones. Haven't seen Khalif's yet. Let's go to the specifics of that contract, and then we'll talk about some free agent options, because this makes things interesting. You guys are talking about Leighton Vander Esch. Something seems like it's brewing. Something's possible here. I mean, the Lions aren't going to go through free agency and sign one guy. That's just not how it's going to go. But the plan has been going as maybe we thought it kind of would. Did that make me brighter? I don't know. But as we thought it kind of would, which is re-signing your guys. So let me pull this up. I got to get your thoughts on this one. Let me pull this up and just take a look at these contracts a little bit deeper. And then we'll take a look at, can we see this? Honey Badger? Yeah, we're going to talk about Honey Badger because he's the last big name left in free agency, right? I mean, he's the last, not big name left in free agency, but he's the last big name safety, I would say, that's available right now. If Dion says someone is going to happen, it's going to happen. It feels like it. So here's why, okay? Here's the Charles Harris contract. We'll start there. As you can see, they added a void year to his contract. That's the first thing. Now, I don't think the Rams did this a ton in the past, but teams do it. I think the Packers may have added a void year to Aaron Rodgers' contract. By the way, the Packers mess is a mess because the Packers, I guess reportedly they offered Davante Adams like $20+ million and he declined it. Nuts over there. I don't know what they're doing. But you can see here the Lions threw a void year on Charles Harris's contract. They had him just under $6 million, basically the signing bonus. However, what they did was they just added a void year so they could spread that out for an extra season, which makes this year's cap number lower. His cap number jumps up next year to $7.9 million, which is not bad. You can see where the dead money's at. They would save a little bit of money if they cut him next season. But it kind of locks him in for sort of 2 years, sort of, and then the third year there's a void year, so we'd be paying money for a guy that's essentially not here. But it's to save a little bit of money for now, and then you also have the DJ Chark contract, which is even more void years. They put 2 void years on DJ Chark's contract. This was only a 1-year deal, and you could see they were saying $10+ million, but his cap number is only $4 million, and what you see from this is that the bonus, or the guarantees, right, $8.965 million. So that's kind of what we heard it was going to be. What did the Lions do with that? They just spread it out through 3 seasons because they put 2 void years on his contract, as you can see here. Which means that basically, from my understanding, Detroit Lions will have him from this season. Cap number is fairly friendly. But next season, he's not under contract. You can see that if he just walks next year because he's not under contract, the Lions, from my understanding, will be paying just under $6 million for a guy that's not under contract. So that's interesting. Maybe there's a way, like, if he performs this year, the Lions try to bring him back and re-sign him, and they're like, okay, now this will, we'll kind of have that void year, but the money will go towards the new contract as well. Maybe that's how the Lions are setting this up, but they could be in a situation where they are paying just money for a guy that's not there, which is leaving cap space open. So now let's finish with this. This is what I want to show you guys right here. If you guys can, hopefully this will, finish with this. So this is, the Detroit Lions over the cap. They do really well. They put their cap numbers in there. They update them as they get them. Now it says $12 million. That won't be the case. Again, I don't know if this is official, chat. Have you guys seen anything that's saying that this is official, that Trey Flowers has been released? Have not seen that's official yet. They said they would do it, so let's just assume it's going to happen. There's the cut. $22.4 million. So that's where we're looking at. However, this does not include, as you will see on the right here, Khalif Raymond's deal. Now, Khalif Raymond, they're saying 2 years, like $9 million. Just based on what we've seen, the cap number, I'm assuming, is going to be very low. It might be like $2 million because we know there's a lot of there's probably incentives in there. I got to believe his cap number is probably super low, which could keep the Lions around $20 million of cap space. We know about 10 of that's going to have to go to the draft, but it could keep them about $20 million of cap space, which means that there are moves that they can still make in free agency. So that's what I wanted to start with, because I thought it was interesting to see the way that they were setting up contracts, to see that they're putting void years, that they're really like opening, they're trying to keep cap space open for something, it seems like, and obviously they're probably gonna make more signings. They're keeping some cap space open and they're throwing on void years to these deals. It's interesting to me. What did Fat Boy say? Is going to sign Julio Jones? Julio Jones. Wait, did Julio get cut? I didn't even see that. Look at this. This news is crazy. Julio got cut? That's wild. Chark's going to be insane. So I want to talk about the receiver situation a little bit as well. I want to talk about that as well, okay? Because I do think the Lions need to continue to add to that. I'm going to throw this screen up. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know every free agent that's out there. I don't think I'd be able to know every free agent. Plus, I don't watch other teams during the season like that. So for me, this is a lot of This is a lot of research that I've done like recently on these guys, trying to figure out who might be a fit for the Lions. Can we get this off the screen? Okay, there we go. I don't want you guys to block it. Okay, sweet. Looks good. So these are some of the free agents that are out there. To my understanding, still out there. If I spelled a name wrong, I apologize. But some free agents that the Lions could be interested in. Why is this thing not full screen? Let me figure that out too. We're missing some guys here. There it is. There it is. The Jalen Maven one's interesting because the Lions have not brought back Jalen. And someone asked me, am I missing anything here? I don't think so. I thought they would bring him back, but he has not been brought back. I don't think you're missing anything here, though. Leighton Vander Esch, had to put his name on there. Now, because you guys keep talking about, definitely got to put his name on there. Now, Leighton Vander Esch, bigger body linebacker. He makes me feel like maybe the Patriots. I mean, I'm just saying. Maybe is that a Patriots type of fit, possibly? Linebacker's interesting, though, because that's a position that we haven't hit. I definitely think, as we kind of said, that I don't think the Lions are going to put tons and tons of resources in that position. But either way, your front seven needs to be better. Like, we can all agree, no matter how you do it, the front seven as a whole needs to improve. And for the Lions, yeah, other things can help it, whether that's defensive backs, things like that. But the front seven as a whole needs upgrades. They need to be better. And the draft is part of that. But you either then have to improve your D-line or your linebackers. Now, I think they're going to be asking guys to step up. Derek Barnes, Levi, Ali McNeil was nice last year. But guys like that, they're going to have to step into bigger roles. They're going to have to play well next year. But there still needs to be improvements. When you look at free agency, linebacker could be a spot where you get a guy like Leighton Vander Esch, maybe not spending a ton of money. Oh, this beat just popped off. What are we doing? Maybe not spending a ton of money. A guy that's, had injuries, things like that. That's interesting. Shout out to Kobe. Member for full month. I see you. What's up, man? How you doing? Every time I see Tuttle, I always read as Shy Turtle. That's facts. That's facts. Hey, hold up. Now, Shy Tuttle got a tender today, so I had to put that in there. I didn't want to leave his name because he has the connections. Had to put that in there. But defensive line interior, I think there's some interesting options. Chad, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Even if you haven't thought about it, I want to put this in your head. Sheldon Richardson. Sheldon Richardson. I think it's interesting. I think it is. Now, we know he was with Minnesota. Sheldon Richardson is interesting. Let me get my notes pulled up on this guy real quick. Wait, look, my notes are scattered as heck. Oh, Michael Peterson. Hey, the Vikings got a lot of guys leaving. By the way, I think I have Anthony Barr up there. Get Anthony Barr off of there. He's not, I don't think he's available. I don't know why I put him on there. Just pretend like Anthony Barr's name's not on there. I'm going to have to delete that. That should not be on there. But, one second. Let me see what we got. There's a couple of interesting names. Also, I wanted to point out Morgan Fox. All right, now Morgan Fox has a connection with the Detroit Lions because he was brought in as a UDFA by the LA Rams when he came out. And he was most recently with the Carolina Panthers. He's an interesting name because he's one of these players that last year really stepped up, especially earlier. He came out hot. He came out of the gates hot. But he can play a lot of different spots in your D-line. He could be like a backup 3 tech that can rotate. He could play really from anywhere from the nose to the 5. He can really move across the D-line. He's got explosiveness off the first step. He's got some long arms. Because of that connection with the LA Rams, being brought as a UDFA, if his price is not super high, Morgan Fox is an interesting option for the Lions. If you're looking for a rotational guy because Nick Williams isn't coming back. Really, if you look at our D-line, the only vet, we have, or a guy that's not on a rookie contract is Michael Brockers, right? So maybe they look to go that direction. I think this is a cool place to address in the draft. We just know as a whole, the front seven has to be addressed somehow, some way. Whether that's through D-line or linebacker, wherever you're going to put the focus. I believe it will be D-line, but they already addressed that last year. You guys got to be better. Miles Jack could have a Javonte Campbell season. Okay, now Miles Jack is interesting too. And I started diving into him a little bit today. I'm going to have to watch more, especially if we get him. We'll do a video on him. But Miles Jack is interesting. We know he just got released. He's an athlete. The dude fits, he suits for a will linebacker spot. Can play pretty much any position. You put him in a 4-3 defense as a linebacker. So there's that. Super athletic. We know that obviously he had tons and tons of tackles, 100 plus constantly. Pass coverage hasn't always been there, but he has the athleticism makeup where you plug him in as a will linebacker and you might just be like, okay, go. And he, again, probably wouldn't be a super expensive option. There was a reason that he was released, so I got to believe that contract wouldn't even be that expensive. So he's a dude that you got to bring up for sure. Miles Jack is interesting. Ever since he's been cut, he's been, kind of tossed around as a possible Lions option. Jack or Matt. Oh, I don't know if I can say that name. Lonidis? Okay, there we go. Can bring a good interior rush for you. There you go. See, I don't even know who that is. I'm going to be honest. I don't know who that is. But there's a lot of free agents. So these are just guys that I kind of know that I think could be interesting. So I just want to throw that out there. D-line's got some names, though. I do think that Sheldon Richardson is a very interesting option for the Lions. The dude can get pass rush. We've seen that for the last few years. The guy can get upwards of 20-plus pressures in a season as a rotational interior defensive lineman. So Sheldon Richardson becomes interesting because of his age. He's probably looking at maybe a shorter-term veteran contract. You could probably plug him in. You could give him a chance. Quentin Jefferson. He may be one of your higher interior defensive linemen on your board. Because Quentin Jefferson is coming off a great season.
Apparently, we're still interested in Arab. You think we have the cap to get him?
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for bringing that up, Kobe, because I would have forgot. I straight up would have forgotten until I looked at it. But A-Rob, yes. It should. What'd she say? She said Arab? Hold up. A-Rob, yes. Al Robinson. That's the only rumor that I've seen tied to the Lions today. Again, shout out to Phantom Lion. Is Allen Robinson. The Lions are still interested with teams like Washington. Now, they did sign, of course, DJ Chark to the 1-year deal. But Allen Robinson, I wouldn't say he's completely off the table. I'd be pretty surprised if they still did it. I would. But they definitely have opened up the cap as we looked at the cap situations, where it's not to say it's impossible for them to do it if they wanted to try to bring in both. He has been holding out. His price may get super, super high. Plus, we know he's 28 years old. He's my favorite free agent receiver that's still out there. But there's still that connection to him. It probably just depends on what his price point is. We know he's from Detroit. So Allen Robinson is another very interesting option. I think it's very possible. And just by ways you've been seeing us send up contracts, I think they could definitely find a way to fit him in if they continue. Like if they brought in Allen Robinson and they put some void years on there, they backloaded it like they have with a lot of other deals, Allen Robinson is still an option. Definitely still an option. Now I want to talk about the receiver position. Chad, I want to get your thoughts on this because here's what I was thinking. DJ Chark is cool. And I agree with someone that said it earlier. I think DJ Chark, you put him in Detroit, he's going to be in a better system. I think he will. And I think he'll be better here. But there always is the injury side, and he's had injuries. The ankle injury most recently. It's come up 3 times in his career. You have to keep that in mind. The Lions still need to address receiver. I don't think it's a bad group right now, right? I think we have 5 locks right now on the receiver position. We got to add competition. Just based on what Randall L. said, we're going to draft 2 receivers. So if you take a look at our free agents, you draft 2 receivers. I think the Lions need to come into the season feeling good about 7 receivers. And just where the cuts go, the cuts go. Maybe some surprise cut happens. So I would say draft 2 more receivers, signing another free agent. Now, if you sign a guy like Allen Robinson, you're kind of locked into 6. So at that point, right, the draft becomes weird because who am I drafting? The only guy at that point that I think is flexible at all has to be Quintez Cephas. But he stepped up last year. I mean, he stepped up when he was the only guy on the outside. I would be completely shocked if Quintez Cephas was not back as a Lion next year. So that would become really your only flexible, I think, receiver piece if you kept 6 again, if you brought in a guy like Allen Robinson, because Khalif's not moving, it doesn't seem like now after getting a 2-year deal. Cephas, like we said, he's on the 3-year deal. St. Brown's not going anywhere. He shouldn't. Josh Reynolds don't look like he's going anywhere. But because of the type of deal that they gave out to Josh Reynolds, because his cap it's only $2 million. $2 million is not like, okay, hey, look, you're a starting receiver for us. No, $2 million cap hit, and again, we know there's incentives in there, and we know that, and the cap number goes up next year, but it doesn't lock you into a starting role, as it shouldn't, the kind of cap number that he has for next season. So I think they still could address it. Draft feels more likely. It does, but it would be interesting if they grab someone in free agency and grab the receiver, because then at that point, I don't know how much movement you can have. Now, if you brought in a cheap guy, it's like, okay, prove it, see what he can do. That's different, but I kind of feel like DJ Chark's in that boat. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the Lions got to draft still 1 wide receiver high. Now, it depends how the board falls. I get that. But I think just in general, I would want to draft, to me, one of my top 10 wide receivers on the board still. You got 3 picks in the top, 34? I'd still want to get one of, maybe it doesn't even have to be a pick, it could be 66. I'd want to get who I view on my board as one of the top 10, top 12 receivers still, knowing that Chark's coming off an injury. Yes, he could be better here, but if DJ Chark gets hurt, where's our receiver position at? It's right back to where it was last year, basically, right? I mean, Josh Reynolds is here for the full year, but aside from that, pretty much everything is right back to where it was. So I think you still got to draft receiver high. If that guy takes Josh Reynolds' spot, so be it. Josh Reynolds only got a $2 million cap hit. You can have the rotations to rotate those guys in. COVID injuries have been going up there. So I think they still got to draft someone relatively high. Someone I would draft, not even high, just someone that they view as a potential to start on your team. You know, that's how I would address it. And then I'm not even mad at a second pick in there based on what Randall L. said. Even if that's late, just for competition, possibly becomes your 7th receiver if you keep 7. It's an interesting receiver room, though. What's going on, my dude? What's going on, Dab Daddy? I'd rather look at draft and free agency for receiver. That's what it feels like, right? I mean, I think it would make sense. I think it would make sense to hold off until the draft, and it feels like that's what the Lions are doing. But you have to address the fact that they do have the Allen Robinson rumor still up there. Don't know if it happens, though, because it just makes the draft weird, right? I mean, if you got Allen Robinson, then, I mean, I saw Hungry Panda said he ran a 4.8, he's got to go. But what else who do you move? Do you really want to move one of those guys? So competition's great, but you don't want to draft a guy and be like, he's not making the team. It's like, okay, well, wait a minute. You just used a draft pick. He's not gonna make the team. So it's hard to not find a roster spot for a draft pick, even if it's late. Most times, at least in year 1. Chandler Jones, the Raider now. I saw he got a pretty nice deal too. Okay, shout out to Chandler Jones. Hey, we got a steal for Charles Harris. I was reading an article today for a different team, and they were like, well, we should be interested in Charles Harris. Like, nope, we stole that man. we stole that man. Okay, you're saying Jabril Peppers for safety. Safeties Definitely the top guys have came off. Jordan Whitehead, for me, that was, he was up there. Oh, my gosh. And the Whitehead deal, what was it 2 years, $14.5 million? Like, oh, my goodness. I would have gave him that, man. I would have gave him that deal. But there was still some questions about the scheme fit. I just thought maybe it would work. But there was legit questions about it. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Make sure I'm not missing any news, man. This thing's popping off. Let me get the beats back on. But the safety position, I still think there's names here. Now, draft definitely feels again like this will be where it's addressed because you have, that's your specialty. What do your guys know? Aaron Glenn's a defensive backs coach. Okay, so safety's a spot they feel like they can develop, and we saw what T-Walk did last year. You got to have some confidence in that. But still signing a vet free agent, even if it's one of these cheaper deals, whether that's a Ronnie Harrison, I guess a Jabril Peppers feels like he's in a weird spot because Jabril doesn't seem like he's proven himself at safety. He's more just like, he's still trying to find a spot. So he would be less of like a proven, all right, we know what we're going to get from this guy. It'd be more of like taking a chance on him. That's what I feel like with Jabril Peppers. Anthony Harris, you bring him up. He was with Philly last year, Vikings in the past. Rodney McLeod. Houston Carson, someone I have to keep putting up there on my board. Ronnie Harrison could make sense. Terrell Edmonds is probably one of the bigger names left for me because Terrell Edmonds being with the Steelers, I think he's a plug-in and fit. But his price, he might be a starter. We'll see there. And then PJ Williams, the connections. PJ Williams seems to make a lot of sense. You bring in PJ Williams, you draft a safety, bam, boom, you got 3 safeties, you feel good. That could make a lot of sense. And I still believe he is available. Dion, what players can we release to free up cap space? I think there's a couple, but I don't think those will happen. I think Jamal Williams and Will Harris stick out. Will Harris could be because he's on his last year of his rookie deal. He'd save you just over $2 million, so that's possible. Jamal Williams would save you, I think, more than that, but I don't think you want to move on for Jamal unless you knew you were drafting a running back or something, or Jefferson or Craig. Running back has depth, so I guess you could say, yeah, well, it's flexible, but I thought Jamal played well for us last year, so I don't want to move on from Jamal. He pass blocks well, he can pass catch, and the dude runs hard, he brings great energy. Those two guys stick out, though. Of course, there always is restructure. There's always, try to get a pay cut from somebody on your roster. But like I said, the Lions, the way they've been setting up contracts, they still have money to spend. So I don't even think it's an issue right now of money, unless you're trying to grab someone huge like Tyrann Mathieu. I forgot about Mathieu. Matthew's, of course, the biggest free agent left. The guy's actually not that old. For some reason, I thought he was like 35. He's only 30 years old. Now, he's not coming off his best season. Tyrann Mathieu's an option, too. I know there's been some talk about him, possibly coming to the Lions or something like that. But I don't know. I don't think there's any like rumors or anything I've seen with Tyrann Mathieu. We know what he can do as a run defender. We know what he can do in coverage. He's just a very versatile piece. Again, he's not coming off his best season. He's a little bit undersized, I would say, from what the Lions looked at in terms of versatility, but he still brings the versatility at his size. Honey Badger's awesome, so he has to be the top. And maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe that's what they're doing, is saving money for a guy like that. I almost feel like there will be maybe a couple of short-term deals given out here. Maybe the guys, maybe that's a linebacker. I think linebacker would make sense to give out a short-term deal. What do we do for backup quarterback? Because I will lose it if I see Tim Boyle. Well, hey, it's going to be Tim Boyle. I think they'll bring in competition for Tim Boyle. I think competition will be through the draft. I think competition will happen. Maybe it's a UDFA, but I don't think they're going to bring in something high, Oh, my man, with the 100. I see you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the support, man. What was the thing? I was just reading something. That noise, man. That noise got me. He said Danny Trevathan. Well, I guess Danny Trevathan would add his name to that list. Does Trevathan make sense? What is he, 30? I don't know enough about Danny Trevathan. If we still had Mark DeLone, maybe that's interesting because I'm pretty sure he did play with Mark DeLone. So maybe there'd be a connection there. Someone brought up the fact that Kelvin Shepard was with the Georgia linebackers. Yes, he was working at the pro day with them. So there's that. I try not to get too caught up in those because it's just kind of like what you do. Everybody's got pro days. But there's a lot of guys coming out of that Georgia class. Drafting a linebacker from Georgia would not be surprising. There's too many guys coming out of Georgia at linebacker. That's not Nakobe Dean necessarily. That's more the Quay Walkers, the Channing Tindalls. It would not be shocking if one of those two guys end up with the Lions somewhere in this draft. They're just crazy athletes. It won't happen, but I put Watson, Allen Robinson both on the Lions, man. It was fun to play with. Hey, okay. I'm not mad at it. What players can we release to free cap space? Oh, I think I already read that one. Oh. Whoa. Is this a song? What are we doing here? Jamison Williams would be a stud here in Detroit. Jamison Williams is one of my favorite receivers in this class. He's up there. I'm gonna have to watch more because I've only watched like 2 games of him. By the way, I'm working on something pretty cool for the draft. I'm just throwing it out there. The information will be released soon on how, because I'm putting something real sweet together. I think it's sweet. Like, I've never done something like this. Put it together. It's gonna be available. So when that drops, you guys will be in the know, and you're gonna know all about these draft picks. I'll just say that. That's what I'll say. Titans released Julio Jones. You should take him. That's interesting. I didn't know they released Julio. So, yeah, so, I mean, where are we at with the receiver position? I mean, that's the interesting spot. I think someone said it earlier in the way we hit it on it. I think it makes more sense to wait for the draft now. You don't want to have it where it's like, okay, we have – I don't know. I don't know if I want a guy like Julio because I think Julio's probably locking to make the roster. Like, if you get Julio, I'm not saying don't get Julio, but I'm saying you did. It's like, all right, he's locked to make the roster. I'd maybe rather look at a free agent receiver that's got a shot to make it. Maybe he's just not a lock to make it. You know, like maybe more of a prove it 1 year type of deal. Something like that. Because DJ Chark, even though it's a 1 year deal, he's pretty much locked in based on the guarantees he gave. $9 million guaranteed with the void years. But maybe something like that where, you know, he's kind of got a shot to make the roster, something like that. That way, if he gets cut because of a draft pick, I'm not like, oh, dang, we got stuck with him. Because if I get Julio, now I got 6 receivers, and I don't know who can move out of there. So how many receivers can I realistically draft at that point? It's a weird situation, man. Georgia's got a ton of players coming out. That's true. Dean has a lot of red flags now. He has a lot of red flags. What's wrong? What did Dean do? Did he do something off the field? We did a video on Nakobe Dean. This is one of our first draft profile videos. I don't remember the reactions from that video. I definitely didn't have him up there as some people may like to see, but he's a good player. He's a good player. What do you think of Miles Jack? Yeah, so Miles Jack makes sense. I think it would make sense to do it because, I mean, it depends what the price does hit, but I think he's in a spot with a lot of these linebackers. Thing with Miles, which is cool, and here's my question about Miles, right? Alex Anzalone, he's back on a 1 year deal. He's 27 now. Miles Jack is like 26 years old. Alex Anzalone's versatile. The dude could play Mike. He could play Will. He can honestly play Sam. You could put him anywhere you want at linebacker. You could put him on the edge. Miles Jack feels like he has similar versatility. So he becomes interesting because I can put him anywhere on the field. He's athletic enough to do it. Derek Barnes, to me, will be just a Mike going forward. They're going to ask him of that. So Miles Jack doesn't seem like a bad option. I don't know if I would pay very much, though, for Miles Jack because, I don't know, Miles Jack is weird. He's in a weird spot because it feels like you could break out and he could be like, damn, we just hit a great pick here. But then you also have the side of it where it feels like, okay, I don't want to overpay for Miles Jack necessarily because it's not like I'm getting a vet in here and then I draft someone and the draft pick I'll play. I don't know. But Miles Jack is interesting because of the ability to play all these spots. So I would definitely say he's got to be on their radar. Juan Alexander. Quan would be weird. So I was thinking about this today. I never really thought about this. So Juan Alexander, when he was traded to the Saints, he helped a ton. He's a fantastic athlete. His coverage is usually really reliable. Now, last year he had a couple of rough games, but usually it's very reliable. But when they brought in Juan Alexander, it basically made Alex Anzalone a backup at that point. So bringing in Juan Alexander feels weird because, like, okay, we bring in Quan and then that's like the same exact situation Alex Anzalone was in. So I'd be shocked that they did something like that. I really would. Like, the more I think about it, I'm like, I don't know. And then plus, of course, the injuries, which he's had to deal with. Think about this stat about Quan Alexander. This is wild. So of the 6 of his last 7 seasons in the NFL, I think he's only been in the league for 7 years. 6 of those seasons, he's missed at least 4 games. That's not good. That's not good. All right. Hey, 3 reasons why you're a free agent. You're going to be overpaid. You're injured. Hey, something. It's something like that. Or you're old. For him, injuries. Bobby Wagner, I feel like he's the top linebacker, of course, and still available for free agency. Bobby Wagner would be an awesome short-term deal. So I think Miles Jack is very legitimate. DJ Chark was already recruiting Miles Jack. Well, there you go. Hey, Alex Anzalone said he might do it with Marcus, but that one got signed because monster deal. But Miles Jack won't get that monster deal. The Lions' most desperate needs are desperate needs are safety linebacker. and Will Harris, Terrell Edmonds, Miles Jack, best fit. He said it. Will Harris. Yeah, I don't see a scenario where they come in with Will Harris. I'm almost more with the concern of safety than linebacker because I think Derek Barnes will start next year. I don't think he's locked into it, but to me, if I was like predicting way out, Derek Barnes will start next year, and I think the Lions are cool with that. Alex Anzalone can start next to him. And again, I just don't think that's the position they're going to value very highly. Yet, I think they'll address it and add competition throughout the draft. Maybe they add a guy like a Miles Jack in free agency. But safety, which the importance that they put on safety, that feels like a position where the Lions are, they got to hit it. There's no way they come in with Will Harris as a starter. I'll say that. And I like Will, but he won't come in as a starter next year. They cannot see that. Now, the thing with safety for free agency is like, do we grab a guy like Terrell Edmonds? Do we pay Terrell Edmonds? Because you could use 3 safeties, so it could make sense. Do we pay a guy like Terrell Edmonds, then come back in the draft? Or do we draft very high safety, feel like we get a plug-in and start safety, and then go that direction with it? Like, how do you... I don't know how they see the draft board. Because this could range from Kyle Hamilton to... Because I think safety's deep. But I don't know if there's many guarantees when you hit round 3 and beyond that you want to be very comfortable with the safety starting year 1. So that's kind of the balancing act. I feel like if you're looking at it that way, if you're not going to take a safety within your first maybe 4 picks, I think you really want to hit someone in free agency here. Even if that's just a vet that's like, okay, we can rely on him. Like Ronnie Harrison, who started for the Browns at times. Like a Terrell Edmonds. I think Edmonds is one of the highest ones left. Maybe even a PJ, but PJ wasn't even really a starter for them. I mean, he started before, but he's not really a starter. He was a third safety on that team. Maybe they go high for safety, though. It kind of feels like it's playing out where the Lions are going to grab at safety high. I'm not saying that's Kyle Hamilton. Very possible. You know, they're not locking themselves into any direction where they have to go, but it could be Kyle Hamilton. It could be the 2nd-round pick. I mean, everybody talk about Lewis Cine, sorry. I like Jaquan Brisker, so maybe he's in that mix. I mean, Dax Hill, we'll see. He's very athletic, but he's kind of like a slot corner. It's just the roles have been different. Jalen Peachtree, like, that could be something. You know, that could be something, man. Kaiser White. Okay, I know I said his name wrong. Is he still a free agent? Because I have looked at him a little bit before. Is he still a free agent? If he's still a free agent, yeah, I'd probably have to throw him up there too. I may have missed a couple guys. I'd probably have to throw him up there as well. We can get Brandon Cook in the 3rd round. Cincy U. Wait, hold up. Let me read that again. I read that as Brandon Cooks. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Or is it Brian Cook? Is that the safety's name? I think that sounds right. Aiden or Kayvon at 2. Holmes loves those 2. You think he does? I don't know, man. The Kayvon one has me pulling 2 different directions. On one hand, I'm like, oh yeah, he likes Kayvon. You know, of course, the Pac-12, but not even just that. Kayvon, you know, he likes the athleticism. The guy's get off is disgusting. He'll love those 2 things. And he's got solid length. Then the other side is like, I don't know if they're going to like that. He opted out he didn't do the combine. You know, there are moments where he doesn't always look like he's running, at least in the 2021 film. I don't know about it. So I kind of it's like double-edged for me when it comes to Kayvon. I don't know where they feel about him. Kyle Hamilton seems like the safe pick. But at the same time, I don't want to act like you can't get a starter outside of Kyle Hamilton at safety, because I definitely think you can. Trayvon Walker at 32, and we get Hamilton at 2. Okay, if Trayvon Walker falls at 32, yes, we should take him. Now, edge is an interesting spot, too. So I put on defensive end here, you know, because defensive end, edge, having versatility is going to be nice. Charles Harris is in. Romeo Okwara's in. Who else do we have at that spot? Julian Okwara. Where do the Lions address that? Let me turn this down a little bit. This beat always gets me messed up. I can't focus when that beat. Okay. But I think it's just those 2 things, man. Like, I feel like you have to... We know the front 7 needs to be better. I think I would lean towards addressing D-line. It depends how the board falls as well. But I think that needs to be better as a whole. Regardless of how you're going to address it, there needs to be improvements there. I just don't think linebacker will be the highest value. So I think you're signing, not a Bobby Wagner type. Jalen Reeves-Maybin still a free agent. Maybe someone like a Jack that has upside because he's still young. It's just like he needs to be in a spot where it clicks. Jayon Brown sort of kind of fits into that boat still. Juan Alexander's different because he's just had injuries. I know Van Der Esch has been brought up. Something like that. Jared Davis, something like that might make sense. And then hit it in the draft again. Versus D-line, where I think the focus is going to have to be heavy. D-line, Morgan Fox is a name to keep an eye on. The connections there, the way he played last season. Morgan Fox had a good statistical year. Do I have the stats on Morgan Fox right here? Let me see what I got. He's coming off a 2-year, $8 million deal. So something in that range could be solid. It's just a Nick Williams replacement. So I think he's a very interesting option. Muhammad, he's coming off a fantastic season as well with the Colts. He's probably one of the higher options still left at defensive end. Weatherly was with the Denver Broncos. He was also with, I can't remember the other team he was with, but he could play outside linebacker and defensive end. Alex Okafor. What did I write about Alex Okafor? Because this one was making me think a little bit. Do I have him on this page? I gotta organize my notes better, man. I'm just all over the place. I get to rolling, man. I can't find a dang thing. Alex Okafor. Okay, yeah, here we go. Oh, no. Alex Okafor was from New Orleans. That's why I put him on there. So Alex Okafor was with New Orleans Saints. He's 31 years old, 6'4", 261. But last time he was with New Orleans, you look at the last 2 seasons that he was with New Orleans Saints, he played well. Now, I know that Aaron Glenn was a defensive backs coach, but 2018, he had 4.5 sacks, 22 pressures. 2017, he played well as well. So he's a guy with connections. I didn't see many like Todd Walsh connections that stuck out to me here. That I was like, oh yeah, that one would be really interesting. The Vikings. What is the Vikings have like every player that was there last year as a free agent. Michael Pierce, Anthony Barr. I think he was picked back up though. They got it all over the place. Linval Joseph. I don't think he was there last year, but they got Linval Joseph. Who's the other guy on the D line? As we said, Sheldon Richardson was there at one point. I think Sheldon Richardson makes a lot of sense. Austin Johnson. No, here's a good one. Oh, shout out to my man just subscribed. Kid Rapper 85. I see you, my guy. Darius Philon. I think that's how you say his name with Raiders. Darius Philon. He's also kind of under the radar feels like type of name because this dude, I love the way that he handles it. This guy's going through his second surgery. He was injured at the end of last season with a knee injury. Brought in by the Raiders. He's going through his second surgery now on his knee. And you could, like, he's mad. Like, he thought he was going to be good to go because it was at the very end of the season. And now he's doing it again to get it fixed again. And you can see him on social media. He's just like, he's tweeting angry. You get them angry tweets, you know it's legit. He's got them angry tweets out there. But he's coming off a really nice season. He opened a lot of sacks. Max Crosby gets the attention, but there's always guys doing dirty work. And Darius Philon feels like an interesting option in there. Now, I think Austin Johnson has some connections. I think that's why I put him in there. Let me see if I can find what I put for Austin Johnson. I believe there is a connection. Austin Johnson may have a connection with Todd Walsh. That may be why I put his name on there. No, this is the wrong page. Hold up. Maybe not. Now, I do want to talk about cornerback real quick. Ravens just signed Zadarius Smith. Ravens signing some guys now. Marcus Williams, Zadarius. Okay, they signing some guys. Bring back Tease Tabor. I can't go. Again, I love to do his name, but I can't go. Is he still in Chicago? He's a free agent again? Okay, bring him back, Chicago. Okay, now cornerback's interesting. This is the spot we have to talk about. So, cornerback has some still big names out there. Chad, I want to know who your cornerback is. If there was a cornerback you think, anybody, who is Sanders' receiver? Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders has done it all in the league. The guy's like top 10 in receptions. He's 35 years old. I would just throw it in there for a veteran option because Emmanuel Sanders, everywhere he goes, you're like, oh yeah, that guy's going to be solid. And he usually is solid. But with cornerback, Stefan Gilmore, to me, is the top of the list. I would love to have Stefan. If we ever landed Stefan Gilmore, I would be just hype. We know last year he ended up with Carolina. It was a weird situation. Patriots do what they always do, move on from guys early. So they bring him in. It statistically wasn't his best, but what he did last year, which wasn't his best, is still great for a lot of corners. His 75 passer rating, it was like a 60-some% completion percentage allowed. Still an outstanding. I think it was a 57% completion percentage allowed. He was still a great season. But then you move to, of course, what he did with the Patriots is outstanding there. Stefan Gilmore, I love me some Stefan Gilmore. So if something like that ever happened, I would be hype. I would. But Casey Hayward, all right? Now, Casey Hayward is a guy that I've watched film on. I think he would plug in to the scheme that Okudah and Amani and Jerry Jacobs can fit very well, and he'd plug right in. Casey Hayward, if you want that veteran option at cornerback, I think he's interesting. He's a little bit undersized. He's sub 200 pounds. He's only like 5'11", but yet he is a very reliable coverage guy year in and year out. And then Janoris Jenkins is also interesting because Janoris Jenkins has that connection with Aaron Glenn in the past, and last time he was with Aaron Glenn, which was a few years ago, he was outstanding. Most recently with the Tennessee Titans. He's definitely up there in age. I think he's like 33 years old. But again, if you want to come in on a one-year deal, maybe you get a reliable corner out there. More reliable than what Dunbar was, because Dunbar had a great season, but again, it just didn't work out. Not going to go into that because I don't know what happened. Hopefully everything's okay there. But Definitely some cornerbacks are interesting here at the top if you wanted to grab someone like that. 1-year deal, maybe that's what the Lions could look into. I'm not saying it's necessary. I've been on a trend of I don't think it's necessary to do this because I like our cornerbacks that we have. But if you were interested, think those 3 names come to mind. A.J. Boye has the connection with Todd Wash. Now, I think recently he got in trouble with like PDs or something. He got in trouble recently. He's a UDFA, I think going back to 2013, but he was with the Jaguars, earned a monster deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he was at his best there. Now, really no surprise because they had a ridiculous defensive line, so no surprise that he balled out when he was there. But A.J. Boye, now he's getting older. I didn't realize how old A.J. Boye was. I think he's like 31 years old. Patrick Peterson with the Vikings was not his best season, but the whole Vikings cornerback room needs improvement. And I think Patrick Peterson's reliable corner. I still thought he was their best corner last year, so I don't know. And his price may dip just because of where the value seems to be at. I saw someone talking offensive line. I love when I see people talking offensive line. Come on, talk offensive line. Look at these linemen, man. Cornelius Lucas. I saw someone post it and they're like, they have to bring him back. They should bring him back. Cornelius Lucas is a top swing tackle. I know he was with the Lions a while ago. Lions have re-signed too many Lions. Okay, we're going to talk about that. But Cornelius Lucas is interesting. Swing tackle, plays both sides, played really well as a swing tackle last year for Washington. Would love to bring him in, even if it's a cheap 2-year deal. Bobby Macy with the, I think it's Macy, maybe Massey, I don't know. He's with the Denver Broncos. Who else do I want to talk about there? David Questenberry, I think that's how you say his name. The guy played a little bit at right tackle last year. Dennis Kelly, one of the most efficient pass protectors when he did play last season. I think it was like 98%. So, a couple backup tackle options. I want a guy that can move to the second level, but we can rely upon him if he has to step in for a game or two. That's what I'm looking for. Just competition. Again, I'm not saying you got to overspend here. If you want to add it throughout draft, go for it. But the Lions said they wanted to address offensive line. Dan Campbell said at the Senior Bowl. And aside from Evan Brown, they haven't done that. So, I'm still holding out hope that it's possible. Now, if the Lions re-sign too many Lions, I don't know. I mean, it depends how you look at it. Rag called me yesterday, and he was like, man, we got to go get new names. I get it. I think we still do, and we will. But I'm not saying, I don't know if they sign too many, because I think it's the plan, right? I mean, I feel like if you're going to say that this is what you're going to do, you're going to give guys chances, like, how do you build, here's how I look at it. How are you going to build a team, right, how are you going to build this foundation? You're going to say last year, look, we built this foundation. We gave guys opportunities to play. Some guys proved themselves, but not re-sign them. Because at that point, what's your foundation? You had foundation. It was there, but then you got rid of it. It's hard to build a foundation if you're not bringing back the guys that performed. Now, there's been some questionable ones. I don't get caught up in the exclusive rights ones because there are no guarantees. It's just bringing back. So even a guy like, I don't know, let's say Godwin. Yeah, he fumbled last year, but at the same time, he ran well. So it was like, okay, I'm not mad at it because if he doesn't make the team, he doesn't make the team. There's no locks with exclusive rights free agents. But I think the guys that they have re-signed, I don't think they've been bad. I don't think it's been bad decisions with some of their re-signings because they're trying to, let me pull this up. I'm going to show you guys the name. That way I remember because I'm forgetting some of these names that have been re-signed. Oh, let me get that off the screen. There you go. That way it fits better. Here's what thing is, I don't know what I'm doing with full screen. I mean, I can't make it and then I can't work the full screen. It's like, how do I do that? But I don't think any of these re-signings are bad. Like Josh Reynolds to me deserved a re-signing. Is anybody disagree? I think he deserved a re-signing, especially at the price. Evan Brown, that price, dude, what did we do? How did we finesse it to get Evan Brown back? No idea. CJ Moore's interesting. CJ Moore's the first one that you kind of think about and you're like, I don't know about that one. That's fair. I think some of that's part of depth. And it's also part of, he seemed to be the guy out of all of these like very young safeties that the Lions started to kind of expand his role. Like they tried a little bit with Jalen when they were forced to against Denver. It just didn't go that well. But they started to expand CJ Moore's role to the point where they're putting him in different spots. Josh Woods, he was outstanding on special teams. I know Hungry Panda will bring that up. And again, he was another guy we started to see a little bit of a role there. Kabinda, it's always a fullback. You have to just take it with that. I think we saw him start to show more versatility where he could play different spots. He could catch a little bit better. But the Lions need a fullback with the way they run their offense. Tim Boyle, this is the one that gets to hate. You can see Rad's F grade there. That's nice. But I don't dislike it. This is the one where I get both sides of it. I just think overall you can look at it as, okay, it's a one, next year they have their quarterback situation with Goff and Tim Boyle. They know they're the quarterbacks. They know because of financially where it's at, Goff's the quarterback next year. So you're going to give him a chance to prove himself. So bringing back Tim Boyle just gives you that backup. But I still think there can be competition, as someone asked earlier. Alex Anzalone, you know, him and Jalen, this one did surprise me. This one did surprise me. I thought they'd go with Jalen. He could still be brought back, which makes me believe the Lions are still weighing their options at linebacker, because they're like, okay, well, hold up. Cuts are still being made. Like, that's the thing, you know, it's becoming official today. So guys are being released. You guys brought up Danny Trevathan. Since guys are still being released, it's not a bad thing, I don't think, for the Lions to sit here and be patient, because they've been backloading these deals, which is why I see moves coming. I don't know when. It could be a minute from now. But they're backloading deals. They're holding a cap situation right now where they have money to go spend and get multiple guys, especially with the way they've been setting up contracts. So I think it's still possible that they do bring back Jalen. But I think they're definitely weighing their options. Shawnee and Hamilton, I think that was a great value re-signing. This is exclusive, right? So not too big deal. Tracy Walker was worth it. The DJ Chark one, there you go. Charles Harris, I think, was worth it. And the Khalif Raymond one, I think that was allotted because he's a punt returner. I don't know what his deal will be. I don't think it'll be like $4.5 million. Just based on the cap hits, if his cap hit was $4.5 million, he would have the most expensive cap hit of any re-signing. So that would be not expected. Not expected. I would say it's probably in the $2 million range. Craig Reynolds was good. Craig Reynolds was good last year. Shout out to Craig Reynolds, man. Hey, I'm glad we got him back, right? We brought Craig Reynolds back. When did we bring Craig back? We brought him back during last season for one more season to get him under contract for next year. Super cheap. Definitely earned it. Running back group looks good. We need that snack that smiles back. Miles Jack. Stop. That was fire. Hold up. Who said that? You know what? Johnny Applesauce. And your name's Johnny Applesauce? I rock with it. Okay. That's fire. I'm down with it. CJ Moore is a special teams guy. He is a special teams guy. This is true. He's good at special teams, right? I mean, he's good. He was a big-time special team. I mean, we needed him last year. I don't know. I don't know if I've, heard of a personal protector doing bad. Maybe it's just because those guys don't see the field. But, yes, he had a very important role for us last season. And he did pick up a first down on special teams, so they trusted him there. But they brought back the guys they liked, and you could see who's not being brought back. We can scroll down here. Jalen, that's the one that I think is still up in the air. Nick Williams, they gave him a pay cut last year. I think he performed okay for his price tag. I don't think there was any issue with that. But they may just look to go a different option this year. Maybe they stay away from the vet side of it. And it's like, you know what? No, we're not doing this. Because unless there's a D-line that really sticks out to him, which I think there's a couple interesting names, which I said. I think it would be an upgrade to get a guy like Morgan Fox in there instead. But maybe it's draft. You have to address it, though. My point is you can't come in next year. Because if you look at our D-line, it's not bad on paper, but it has to be addressed. There has to be competition added. And the Lions have pushed and kept saying that we want competition. To me, my fastest way to improve the front seven is bolster that D-line. That would be the fast way I would say to do it, just based on the way they've addressed it in the past. Now, am I completely frozen right now? I'm not completely frozen. I thought I was. My stream is paused. I'm sorry. I was like, what is happening? Terrell Crosby. What the heck happened there? He's not brought back. Let's not even talk about that one. Dean Marlowe. Dean Marlowe was I wouldn't say he was good. He wasn't good last year, but he was just kind of there. He's like a placeholder. So CJ Moore for Dean Marlowe, I'm not mad at that. I'm actually not mad at that at all. And then you're gonna address it because safety needs to be addressed. That's one position that has to be addressed. Cadero Hodge, he struggled when he was forced to take over, but he flashed here and there. We know, hey, he had the special teams first down. He also had that really good catch against Seattle. That play was huge because we weren't passing. He just took the top off. It was like, whoa, and he caught it to the 2. He had a couple flash plays here. But I don't think it's enough maybe to bring him back. Now, I don't think he's an exclusive rights free agent either. If he's exclusive rights, I could see it, but on a regular deal, probably not. Will Holden? Nah. Will Holden didn't play well. Will Holden, we bring him in. He competes. Matt Nelson's in there, but Taylor Decker goes down, so Will Holden didn't play well when he was on the field, so he's not going to be brought back. Joel Heath, he was hurt last year, so that's just unfortunate. And David Blau. Don't think he'll be brought back. It's just based on the way the Lions did it last year. I don't think you want to come back with the same exact receiver room. I feel like if you come back next year and you have David Blau and Tim Boyle again, that's not good. I don't think that's where you want to go with this. I think you'd want a new face in there some way, and because they brought back Boyle, it feels like the new face is going to have to be your third quarterback. And it doesn't have to be a draft pick. It doesn't have to. I don't think it will be. But, I mean, it could be. It could be late, but I don't think it'll be a high draft pick. But to me, the Tim Boyle, and I could be completely off on this, we'll see how it plays out. But to me, the Tim Boyle re-signing makes me feel as that the Lions are kind of saying that they're not going to take a quarterback high. I like leaving it out there, for other teams to be like, oh, maybe they're interested. But I don't think they're taking a quarterback high. I think they're just like, hey, it's a 1-year situation with our quarterback right now. this is what this is, and we're going to give him a shot to prove himself. So Tim Boyle will come back on a 1-year deal. We like Tim Boyle. We just want to see him again for another season. See if he keeps taking strides and steps, because even at that point, if Jared Goff, let's say Tim Boyle comes back next year, he plays way better in the preseason. He's taking these strides. He's only on a 1-year deal. But let's just say hypothetically he doesn't work out with Goff and you go forward. Well, maybe Tim Boyle comes back again as a backup. Like, he still would have then a chance to compete with that new rookie. Very unlikely that he would win that job, depending on how high you took it. But at least you get to see him again for another season. But it feels like with what they did right now, that it's kind of like, all right, we know what the situation is with their quarterback. We're going to go forward with that. So Tim Boyle coming back for a 1-year deal is fine. Plus, the other free agent signings for backup quarterbacks kind of got a little expensive, man. I'm pretty sure that Colt McCoy made more money than Tim Boyle, which is like, okay, I didn't think that would happen, but he did. So it kind of got expensive. It was a cheap option. We only have 1 year on Chark, and he's coming back off foot injury. Exactly, and this is why we need to address receivers still. But the way we broke it down, I think it makes sense for that to be the draft. Chat, can we get a 1 if you think the Lions will sign another receiver? 1 to chat if you think they'll sign another receiver. 2 if they won't. I want to see where that kind of lays out. Because to me, I'm kind of feel like I'm in between. It could make sense, but I kind of feel like they won't. 1 if you think they will. 2 if you don't think they will. Still listening to Mixed Stats to go. Appreciate you, Giovanni. Mixed Stats. Hey, he came up with that out of nowhere, man. Draft Travis Jones early and Jordan Jackson out of Air Force late. It's your D-line finished. What about quarterback? Akil, I don't know how to say the guy's name. Glass out of Alabama. I like him. And again, that's going to be part of my draft thing. I like the guy. If we're talking late picks, he's one of my favorite, because I don't like a lot of the day 3 quarterbacks. I'm just throwing it out there. But I like him. I just don't like his arm strength at all. It concerns me. You can say, oh, he doesn't have a big arm. It legitimately scares me, his arm strength for the NFL. But if he can hit the weight room, put some protein in that milkshake, he may be okay. I like him. That would be one of my, I like that guy. I do. 2, 1, 1, 2, 2. Oh my goodness. There are some 1s in there though. Okay, I think 2 is winning the battle, but there are some 1s. 1.09. Not sure how that's a thing, but okay. I'm not mad at it. So 3 for cookies. Okay, I should just start saying that because people are gonna bring it up. Let's go 3 for cookies. I do 3 at that point as well. I feel like Tim is just a good locker room guy. If they have a quarterback, they like, they still take him, but the expectation is probably that it won't happen. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Because to me at that, that was my perspective, right? Well, if there's a quarterback, I'll take him. But I don't know how they feel with class. If I was in that situation and that's the mindset I came in with, which I still would because I want to take the player that I like the most. But if I'm at 2, I have my option to the quarterback. Yet I'm not taking him over the talents that's there. Move to 32, things could get interesting. But, it's pretty much a lot. Malik ain't falling out, right? I still wouldn't take it that high because I feel like there's other talent that I like. Really, to me, I think it would start at 66, where I start to look at it and be like, okay, this guy slipped. Oh, Sam Howell fell through the cracks. This guy fell through the cracks. Maybe at that point, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting because now we still added our talent with our first 3 picks. Goff is still the guy for next year because of his contract situation, yet we have this backup. And I think if you can do that in day 3 back, if you can hit quarterback in day 3 back, it's not a bad idea because the later you hit a guy that you like enough to keep on the roster, the more likely that if Goff does play well, you're not like, dang, we have this backup quarterback and we used to pick on him and he won't play. Kind of like the Packers, right? They're like Jordan Love. What do we do with Jordan Love? Do we trade the guy? By the way, his value's low. I don't want Jordan Love. Let's not even, go into that, but I don't know. 4 for milk. Oh, hold up. What kind of milk we talking? We talking chocolate milk. I'm down. I'm not against white milk. You know what I'm saying? But I'd rather have chocolate milk. Thoughts on Twitter? Wanting to do Goff or Baker? I think that's people being unfair in Goff. No, I wouldn't do that. And I'm not even like a Baker hater. I feel like last year with the whole Baker situation, his injury played a major factor in it, definitely. But even with that, Baker was you can't tell me that Baker played better. Baker struggled. We literally watched it. We watched the Lions play the Browns. If you watch that and you're like, oh yeah, Baker's that dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. He was not that dude to that game. And I get the injury was a big factor of it. I actually would usually try to credit him for playing through it because, what quarterback's going to be like, what player, is going to be like, I'm not good enough to go. You're the quarterback. Even if you're not good enough to go, you don't want someone taking your job. You don't want a situation where you sit out. Even if playing like hot garbage, you'd rather try to be on the field, right? You'd be like, no, I'm good. I'll play through it. So I think there's that side of it, but nah, I wouldn't do that. The only benefit for Baker would be the contract, but I'm pretty sure this is the last year of his contract, maybe, and then you're gonna have to pay him. So like, nah, I wouldn't want. We're gonna be back in the same boat with the guy that I don't like more at all. So Holmes and Campbell are in on Goff. I don't see him getting traded either. Y'all can have Baker. I want Sewell's little brother. That's very possible. That feels like a day 3 pick. I don't think he'll go much higher. He is like really small. He's really small for linebacker. But if we're talking around 7, the comp picks came official. Every comp pick that the draft never projected, by the way, was exactly right. Scary. I don't know. Either it was exactly right or they updated it like as soon as it happened, because every comp pick they projected was exactly right. By the way, on DoseOfDion.com, I do have to show this, okay? Just because, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we got a nice little button here. Wait, does it not work? Hold up. What is this one? Sorry. Okay, wait a minute. I thought the button worked. I can't do that. Okay, so you guys are going to see some behind the scenes. Nah, you can't look at the behind the scenes because I got things I'm working on here. But Lions latest, I put this up yesterday because I was like, I'm just going to try it to see what it does. Here's our article we dropped yesterday. Can this thing full screen? Great. All right, it's not going to full screen. But anyways, there it is. Lions awarded 3 comp picks. And here are current picks that I have from my resource. I'm not my resource. Stop. What does that mean? From my research, these are the current Lions draft picks for next season. So everything that they projected was like completely accurate, which is pretty wild. So now does safety take priority over linebacker? We need to start. I think safeties, to me, in my eyes, safety's been a priority over linebacker. That's the way I look at it. And I think I could be completely wrong. I say that like I may be completely wrong. Lions may hit free agency and draft differently than I'm thinking. I think they prioritize safety over linebacker. I think linebacker is towards the bottom. Like, now, roster situation is different because if your roster's here and there, it's like, okay, we need this to kind of complete our roster. But if you put every position on a screen for Brad Holmes and you said, okay, order the positions without any players, order the positions of, that you're going to value the highest. Linebacker would be right near the end. I would predict it'd be right near the end. Instead, the focus will be higher on defensive line. That's what my projection is. I think we started to see that last year with Levi and Aleem. That's what I think the case is to trade for Brockers. I could be wrong, though. But definitely I think safety's higher right now for sure for me than linebacker. And just because I can't see, like I said, I can't see a scenario where Will Harris is a starter next year. Not a safety. Somewhere maybe, but not a safety. But same thing with linebacker. Derek Barnes to me will start. The other spot's kind of up for grabs. Maybe that's Alex. I think Alex will do better in that spot. Maybe that's Josh Wood. Maybe Sean. I don't know. But still think they'll address it. I just think they'll address it later. I don't know if that makes sense. Later, like you know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying. I'm making it confusing. I don't need to, but I am. Yeah, and safety too. You also got to think about the versatility of safety. Like my man said, you run a lot of 4-2-5. You need an extra defensive back. So safety/corner becomes even more valuable. A guy that can sit in the box a little bit too. Because I don't think we're going to see a ton of 3 linebacker packages. I think we'll see some maybe on early downs because we saw some last year with Jalen, Alex, and that's why I think they're holding out on Jalen because I think they're weighing their options in free agency. Like, all right, here's where safety's at. We know what we're doing. Here's what I think. If the Lions go out and they grab, let's say the Lions go out and they grab. I'm just going to go crazy here. I'm going to say they grab Bobby Wagner. Or maybe not even that. Maybe something less than that. I think it kind of tells you where the draft is probably going. Probably very high safety. Because then they have that guy. All right, we good here. We'll address it in the draft. We'll come back like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. Not 5th because we don't have a 5th unless we trade for it. And then safety is going to be pretty high. I can see us drafting Hamilton too, for sure. I think the preference would be to trade back, but then again, I don't think there's a lock. I think trade back becomes a very high preference now because I think Aiden's gone at 1. And if they don't trade back, I could definitely see Hamilton at 2. No question. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I could see that. Sadly, I feel like we missed out on a Michigan strong safety. I have Brisker overseen right now, currently. From what I've seen. Oh, stop. Okay, hey, hold up. Was that a dub? That might have been an L. I didn't even mean to do that. By the way, we're going to wrap the stream up soon. But I have Brisker above him. The safety ranks are close because I think there's different types, right? To me, Dax Hill and Jalen Petrie are 2 different types. I'm not getting the same thing there. So if you're saying rankings for the Lions, Nick Cross even comes into those rankings. If I'm being honest, he starts to push his way into those rankings because I think the style that he played at Maryland becomes interesting as a fit for the Lions. I think he starts to find his way into that because he's big, he's athletic, he can play deep safety, he can play in the box, he can play man coverage. His versatility becomes a very interesting fit, I think, for the Lions, and he starts to push his way into one of those higher tier safeties for me. I can't go Trayvon Walker at 2. I can't do it. I don't see enough polish there not to feel good about it because I don't know if the impact, I can't do it at 2. A trade back, maybe, depends how far I'm trading back. I think Trayvon Walker might be the third edge by the time I'm all said and done with this, but as of now, I couldn't do it at 2. I couldn't do it. He's a great athlete. He's extremely long. His stop and start ability is awesome, but there's not really any kind of counter pass rush moves. It's a very limited plan that he attacks with. I know some of that's because of the role, which means I think he could definitely have more statistical production elsewhere, like in the NFL versus what he did in college. He's got a very high ceiling as a run defender, no question, but I couldn't do that too. Not right now. Maybe that'll change my mind on that. Dax Hill not even on my draft board. Ooh. Oh, okay. Okay, dang. Hey, you got a small draft board. No, I'm playing. Davis this year, Aaron Donald? Nah, because here's the difference. When Aaron Donald came out, the guy had like 30 tackles for loss. When Jordan Davis is coming out, he has like 5. To me, completely different. Now, he lit up the combine, but Jordan Davis, to me, is one of the best run defenders in this class. I mean, I've watched the film like, whoa, this guy is incredible on early downs. He is incredible. For a nose tackle, anybody that wants to run stopping nose tackle, it's not normal, but if you need it, don't hesitate to do it round 1. But for pass rush, it's just not there, man. It's not there. I've seen him do one swim move. There's not really an arsenal, which kind of makes sense. Usually he's just trying to like bowl guys back to the pocket, but there's not a lot of that there. I think there's some versatility on early downs to play different spots because he's a really good athlete, especially working upfield rather than working diagonally. I think he's way better working upfield than working laterally. But I don't see enough pass rush to be like, yeah, that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're two different types, but he'll definitely find his way in round 1, I think. Even just based alone off what he did at the combine, but he was outstanding last year. How do you feel about Levi Lewis, Edge, Malik? Oh, that's different. Levi Lewis, I don't know who that is. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who Levi Lewis is. Who is Levi Lewis? I'll have to check him out. Would you trade for Marvin Jones if Jags would? If Jags would trade for Marvin Jones, would I trade for Marvin Jones? That's tough. I mean, it depends on having to give it up. I wouldn't want to give up much. I love Marvin Jones. I don't think I'd want to give up much there. Now, I don't know what age he is. I don't think I'd want to give up much for that. Because I feel like I'm going to hit it in the draft pretty high. At least that's how I would do it. I would hit it pretty high in this draft, one of my top 3 picks. Not my first one, one of my top 2 of 3 picks. I'd hit it, or 66, I'd hit it relatively high, and then I might draft a second one. But if you get Marvin, like I said, if you had Marvin Jones, if you drafted any receiver, it's not easy for him to find the roster at that point. And that's a good thing, but at the same time, it's also like, are we going to cut? Who are we going to cut in this group? So I think what's very likely is the Lions will keep 7 receivers next year. Early prediction, it's very likely. If you keep 7 next year and you trade it for Marvin, I wouldn't be mad because then I could draft 1 receiver and I feel pretty darn good. So it depends on what I have to give up. I wouldn't want to give up like a third for him. I feel like that's too much. But I would, if they're willing to do it, I consider it. I love that dude. He's a great Lion. George Pickens be still second round. I'm really starting to like George Pickens, and I'm not gonna go too deep into it right now because I'm still working on it. But George Pickens, man, that dude. It's not even what he does as a pass catcher to me. Like he can pass catch, but it's the mentality the guy plays with is unlike a lot of receivers in this class. The dude plays like a fullback at receiver. Like he plays with that. Like he's mean. Like you don't see this dude pancakes guys as a blocker. When do you see receivers do that? The guy's built. The ACL tear is going to be the biggest thing that's going to push him down the board. How does he recover? Because we haven't seen him since. Well, we have, but he had only played 4 receptions last year. The ACL tear is going to be the biggest thing to know where teams feel about his recovery from that. But I don't know, man. Marvin is 30. My bad, he's 32. Okay, good luck. He was their best receiver last year, even though that whole thing was a disaster they had going on. He's good in the red zone too. Pickens slept on. I'm going to be honest, I slept on Pickens for a little while. I slept on him. And I think there's reasons to sleep on him a little bit. But I love the way the dude play. He'd be one of those guys I'm like, oh yeah, that's a Detroit Lion right there. That's what I would feel like looking at that dude. Who won the Super Bowl? Old Stafford. No quarterback in this draft was taken. Absolutely agree. I mean, you're in a situation where Goff is not going to be moved after this year. So why not build this thing, see how he does. If he does really well and it's like, dang, we're winning a lot of games, go forward with it. He's already on a contract. You don't got to worry about trying to hit the lottery. Then you could draft a quarterback on top of that. Even at worst case, you could draft a quarterback on top of that next year and still have him. But the quarterback is kind of like a lottery. However, if you have that team built and you feel really good about where it's at and he underperforms, yes, plug him in and let's go, because now you're already in that boat. I think we talked about how much he's going to take from the Rams and how much look, if you look at what he's doing versus like what we said in that Rams video, go check it out. We talked about the Rams free agency. His free agency so far, the Lions have been very similar to what the Rams did when Brad Holmes was there. Very, very similar in the first year with Sean McVay. The difference, as we saw down the road, they got Stafford, but they've made more trades than that as well because they got successful and they're like, let's go get this guy, let's go get that guy, let's just get rid of the picks because we're just getting great players at valuable positions rather than taking a shot in free agency, and then we'll re-sign the guys that we feel like earned a spot for the next season. That's how I just don't see how you can build a foundation and not re-sign your guys. It's like, hey, we're gonna build this, but we're not going to bring any of the tools to build it. It's like, now you can't do that. Like, they're all here. We've seen it. And anybody that's like, yeah, that guy worked, keep him. Bring him back. Why not? Guys can't get overpaid. So at that point, certain guys have to go because financial reasons. You're like, yeah, he was good for us, but he wasn't that good for us. But for a lot of these dudes, 27, 26, 25 years old, and they earned it. It's like, bring it back, man. That's how you build a foundation. You can't build a foundation and not bring him back. That's just going completely against exactly what you set out to do. Desmond Ritter in the third, I'd take him in the third. Yeah, it depends how the rest of the draft goes, but I would probably heavily consider taking Ritter in the third if he was sitting there. I won't want to say I would. I should take that back, but depending on how the draft goes, I would highly consider taking Ritter if he was sitting there in the third. I'm a big fan of Ritter. What do you think about trading back for Lloyd? I think he's the best linebacker. I'd have to move back for that. I don't think the Lions will go that high, but if you wanted a stud in your front seven, Lloyd's going to be that. I wouldn't be mad. If we went, I wouldn't want to like trade back to 4 and take Levin Lloyd. Then be like, what are we doing? But if we traded back to like 9 or 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, and we were like, all right, even that feels early. If we got to pick 9 or further back, then he starts to come into the conversation. But anything in the top 8, I can't take a linebacker. I don't think I could take him in the top 8. I'd rather wait a little bit longer for that. Wandale, hopefully 4th. Fingers crossed. Very possible. Seems very possible. Wandale and someone else, and I'm down. Ritter's a nice quarterback. He's a nice quarterback, man. I think Ritter might be, and you guys aren't sleeping on him, but I think in general, he is kind of slept on a little bit. I like Alec Pierce. He's a stud. Definitely would consider him in the third round. Christian Harris or Nakobe Dean than Lloyd. Ooh, I can't go with the Dean one. Here's the thing, though. I get what you're saying, though, because they are better athletes than he is. So if you want a better athlete, I think Lloyd's the better all-around linebacker, but I think those two guys are better athletes. But the thing is, if Nakobe Dean doesn't have a great D-line, we don't know how he's going to perform. That's the kicker. That's why I'm focusing on D-line, because Nakobe Dean, as great as he didn't get touched at the second level. When he did, he wasn't even in the play. You have to dominate in the trenches. And that Georgia D-line, no one can hang. Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Davis, they had the Carter in there. He's outstanding, number 88. Trayvon Walker. When that's your D-line, you're not getting touched. You're free to roam, And at that point, he can be what he's great at. Fast, sideline to sideline, play man coverage, and just roll. But if he's getting hit the second line because your D-line is not dominating or it's not putting a lot of pressure on that offensive line, he might not be the same player at that point. So that'd be my only thing about that is I have to feel real nice about my D-line comes priority 1 for me. Ritter would be dope. Trayvon is maybe Clowney. Won't be a pass rusher. Ooh. Hey, Clowney got us a pass rush. Come on now. No, I get what you're saying. I would take Ritter the third as well. All right, man. Hey, look, we got to wrap up this stream. But rank my top 5 linebackers. Okay, so I would have, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to put that right now. I have to really see it. Devin Lloyd would be probably at the top right now. Muma would slide his way into the top 5. Who else would I throw in there? Dean might get into the top 5. I can see putting Dean in the top 5. Y'all gonna might have to come back to that. It's coming. My draft thing is coming, and it's going to have everybody ranked. Everybody's going to be ranked. So you guys will be able to look at that. These are, I don't know. I got to see it. I don't know. I don't know, man. I know what the consensus 5 is, but that wouldn't be my 5. That's tough. Christian Harris would probably be in there. Christian Harris would be probably like 4. I would have, what's his name in there? Troy Anderson. I don't know if I put Troy Anderson. He'd be on the outside looking in, I think. But he worked himself up big time. I couldn't put Brandon Smith in there. No, I didn't think either of those Penn State linebackers were that great last year. But he is a legit athlete, and that's what Penn State puts out, are great athletes. So even him, like if you got Brandon Smith in like round 4, I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, round 5, I don't know, one of our day 3 picks, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice value. And he'll probably go higher because of how good of an athlete he is. But no, I can't go top 5. Damone Clark, he might be, I don't know. I came in late. How much cap space do we have? So, from my understanding, we're sitting at about $22 million in cap space. Again, 10 has to go to the draft, not including the Khalif Raymond deal, but I'm going to assume his cap hit's about $2 million. So, we should be looking at having opportunities to sign a couple more guys. Sign or Brisker. Seen or Brisker. I take Brisker. Lloyd Mumadine. Leo Harris. Okay, I got to watch more Leo before I feel confident about putting him that high. But when I get through more games, check my Insta. All right, I'll check my Insta. What was one thing? Our pass coverage is so bad. I mean, everything was bad defensively. We couldn't stop the run. We couldn't get pass rush. We couldn't get coverage. Everything was bad, but I think you have to pick a spot and say, all right, here's where we need to get better. Like, this has got to be the focal point. To me, cornerback is one of those spots where it's like, look, we got young talent here. And they did well without a lot of pass rush. They did pretty well. Not great, but they did pretty well. So maybe you could add to vet to that. But the D-line's got to be better, because if you're going to play through your D-line, which they're literally adjusting their front because of their D-line, you have to be dominant there. And that makes the linebackers better. Tracy Walker's nice. Safety will be added high. And I think at that point your defense starts to kind of come together, because it's going to be aggressive. There will be no sent back next year. It's going to be downhill. So you get some really good athletes, maybe even like a Brandon Smith. He might not be as polished enough. He's going to be polished, but great athlete. Dominate on the trenches. You can wait a little bit on linebacker, where you just get some fantastic athletes in there, compete. Dominate on the D-line. You're working ahead, and then you get another safety that can be very versatile across from T-Walk. And I think at that point, you do those 3 things, you're in a real good spot next year. I think you improve your D-line big time. Levi steps up. Linebackers get some athletes to compete, and then get a versatile safety with T-Walk, and your defense will go to a completely another level. Just because of the way that he's going to call it is going to be aggressive. Think about it. We run more, I think, cover 0 on third down than any team in the National Football League. So it's going to be aggressive. EJ Barry. I've watched a little bit of EJ Barry. I've watched a little bit of him. I got some notes on him, but I have seen a little bit of EJ Barry. Or is it EJ Perry? I thought it was Perry. Is it Perry or EJ Barry? EJ Perry. EJ Perry sounds right. EJ Perry. There it is. Yeah. He visited the Texans. Okay, there you go. Or is this it? Cleaning up on the sidelines. Okay. I gotta see you, EJ Perry. Hey, I've seen him a little bit of EJ. I gotta watch some more Cole Kelly. Weatherford. What's my take? He'd be cool because he's versatile, right? He can play linebacker, safety. He's had a lot of position versatility, so he'd be nice to be like a possible third safety at worst. And he could grow from there. I mean, he would fit into a type of defense as a 4-2-5 extra DB. Prove the other hand. We got a guy like Hamilton pair with Okuda, and our definition and already developing defense backs. Absolutely. Facts. Should we sign Julio? DOD. What's going on, man? I think I'd probably stay away from Julio. I think I would. Would I come up here and be like, oh, dang, guys, I'm sorry. We got Julio today. I don't know what we're doing. We got Julio. Like, no, I wouldn't be like that. But I would stay away from it just because of I think, how they're going to approach the draft. Hey, I'm taking Antoine Randall's word because it seems like he's right on the money. He said he wanted Khalif and Josh back. They're back. Said he wanted to sign a free agency receiver. They did it. And he wants to draft 2 receivers. I'm going to assume they're going to do it. So I'm going to leave it there. Lack of secondary depth. But here's the thing, though. We ran a lot of cover 0. I get what you're saying. But the Saints did the exact same thing when he was there. Like, I think it's just something that he's carrying from the Saints because they ran anytime the Saints hit third down, their most frequent formation, their most frequent call is cover 0. I think it's just a schematic thing to be aggressive. But I do agree Lack of secondary depth. We did lose some depth last year, big time. And we were like sorting to figure out who that is. I think the good thing is, though, of last year, we kind of figured out who those guys are in Jerry Jacobs and, maybe Will Harris even. But we started to kind of figure out who those guys are. And we figured out who the guys that are not ready. The Bobby Price, maybe he can be. He's not ready. So I think we started to figure it out. Hopefully that's what we do this year, and I think that's the plan. They set in place. They are laying the foundation, and I love that they're sticking to it. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Deanna's draft day. Lions stay at 2. They're going to draft Kyle Evans number 10. What's your first thing going through your mind? First thing going through my mind is we got the best safety in the class, but I think the first thing going through my mind is I would immediately picture Tracy Walker and Kyle Hamilton like standing next to each other. You know why? Because I would be like, dang, look how tall Kyle Hamilton is. Hey, I wouldn't be mad at it. It feels high for a safety, but as long as they come back and just explode on this defensive line and they get better on the defensive line, I think that duo could be disgusting because that versatility will, we got pass rushers, right? Keep adding to that. Charles, Julian, Roman, you can put all these guys on the field, but if your defensive line's legit where you allow Kyle Hamilton to be his best, I feel good about it. If your defensive line struggles, Kyle Hamilton probably won't be as good as he could be. But I think that's the case for everybody behind the front. I think it's the exact same thing, a little bit differently, that translates to offense. Your offensive line is bad, receivers are less effective, running backs are less effective, quarterbacks less effective. D-line's bad, linebackers are less effective, cornerbacks are less effective, safeties are less effective because now they're being asked to do things to support the run, which allows less turnovers because now you don't have help in the back end. I think it starts from the trenches, and I think that's where they're going with it, man. I don't know, though. Kind of his block. Hey, maybe he comes back. I don't know. Maybe he does. Anyways, that's just my thoughts. I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong many times before, but that's what I think based on what I've seen, the way they've done things. So, I like that. I like that mock. I see you. If we take Kyle Hamilton, he will be the best because he's 9 different receivers to test. He has 9 different receivers to test. Oh, there you go. Let the end of the stream. Thanks for the stream. No, I appreciate it. No, guys, thank you for everybody coming in. We will come back on here again. And if there's any news, stay tuned for that. Again, go to DoseOfDion.com. I got big plans coming with the draft package, so stay tuned for that if you guys want to check it out. But I know it's a work in progress. If you guys look at the site and you're like, this is whack, you're doing this all wrong, please let me know. Be like, hey, change the color. Because the color's kind of bland. I was trying to figure out how to change it. But if you go to DoseOfDion.com, as of now, Lions latest has my videos. Lions free agency is where I have a free agency tracker. As you can see, I'm updating these as they happen. So if my video's late, it'll be on here. It should be. And that's how I was point out because there's big things coming to that. We don't have to be with our second rounder. But would I be mad if they did? No, I would not. But I'm cool if they do. It depends who's there, though. Hey, if DeMarvin Leal's there, count me in. If Logan Hall's there, you might have to count me in. Hey, it just depends. Thank you, Prime, for watching. We out, man. Have a good night, and we'll see you soon with Lions news when it goes down. If you come here and at the end, hey, rewind it, man. We talk about some free agents and all that kind of stuff, and we'll be live again, probably pretty